Okay.
Hey, we're starting. Hey everyone, this is Andy Hall. Leighann Lord. I never get this right. Leighann Lord's over there. Leighann Lord, comedian,
I'm here.
author, podcaster, YouTuber. Any other title, accolade I've forgotten?
I don't know, cat
Leighann?
consort.
Cat consort.
I'm not getting paid for that, but
No, of course not. And you'll see below us here, though not underneath, not under us in any way, shape, or form, is Sam Slade. Sam has lost considerable amount of weight over the last few weeks of the quarantine, and so he looks remarkably like a microphone with no one there. I'm sure Sam will be with us within a few moments. Maybe he has to wake and bake. I don't know. Maybe waking and baking is the problem, though. Oh, hey, Sam, how you doing? You making the dramatic entrance? How you doing, sir?
Hello.
hey there.
Hey, Leighann. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Oh, I was just going to ask for your co-host there. He or she just sort of, ran behind you. Other side.
She's Leighann. Look, this is actually that's her little shelf.
Aww.
That's where she lives. We even hung her up a little poster. I don't know if you can see that. It might be too, but it's a little. We made her a little black light poster with some highlighters. That's what we do during quarantine. We turn it into cat people, and it's not concerning because it's quarantine.
I know, right? Yeah. I turned into a cat person. I was a dog person, so I guess I'm a big furry love person now. But yeah, he insisted on sleeping on my old laptop, so I wouldn't put a pillow on top of that to accommodate him.
Very nice. Very considerate.
I am.
So I don't know if anyone else knows this, but the only reason why I know this is because I was scrolling through Facebook or my news feed, and today is Loving Day.
Oh, yes.
And so Loving Day is an anniversary of the 1967 case of Loving versus the state of Virginia. And it is what's the proper term? Anti-miscegenation, I believe.
Miscegenation, yes.
It was illegal in many states to be in an interracial marriage. And this case brought up to the Supreme Court ruled against those crazy laws.
Which is awesome.
So, the world might be a dark place right now, but we can always remember today is Loving Day.
Yeah. So, I
gotta
go out and find another white guy.
I hear they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Listen, I gotta make a run to the grocery store. I'll see what I can pick up.
Right.
Well, that's what I wanted to say was, Leighann, I don't want you to think that we're pandering to you because you're on the show this morning, but we always open the show with interracial marriage facts.
I assumed so.
Why
it just happened to be a special day. You know what? If it was Pearl Harbor Day, my friend, I'd be talking about Pearl Harbor Day. December.
Hey, by the way, I'm so glad you brought up Pearl Harbor. The other night on Amazon, I've been meaning to tell you this off air, just the kind of nerd shit we talk about. I downloaded or I rented off Amazon the director's cut of Pearl Harbor.
Now, is that the most recent one? The one with
Affleck? Yeah, with Affleck and Baldwin and Josh, like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Well, in the director's cut, we intercept the Japanese and they never make it there.
Well, that's remarkable. I think that's a great way of telling the story.
Okay, a little revisionist history. I was going to go with Batman was at Pearl Harbor, but okay.
I would have liked to have seen
Leighann,
both.
I don't know.
The truth.
Is Leighann aware of how unhealthily obsessed I am with Ben Affleck playing Batman in general, or did she do her research, or is this just all magic coming together this morning, Andrew?
We are all. This is magic. I think.
I mean, I'd like to think if the Sorting Hat, I got a chance to wear that, it would put me in Ravenclaw. So I had no idea you have an Affleck thing, and not the duck, but the actor.
What is Ravenclaw?
Oh, Ravenclaw is one of the 4 houses in Harry Potter. I'm sorry, I'm a Harry Potter fan. So, yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Harry Potter is now 50 years old.
I have kids, so that makes me somewhat of a Harry Potter fan, whether I like it or not.
Well, Tara, to be honest, Andy, I'm looking at all of our book ever over here on the shelf here. So I'm the asshole.
Okay, I feel comfortable with that, Sam. With you being,
You're like, I will always sign off on that.
Yeah. I don't have that much of an issue with that this morning. Though I am glad to see that you're wearing the jacket. I saw that you were on Chris Mallard's show on Wednesday wearing that jacket, and we're going, why isn't Chris ever wearing a jacket for my show or for our show, the show that he actually is supposed to be co-hosting, and he does.
The show I put my name on.
You put your name on this show,
and I'm proud to. A long conversation last night in this living room between Tara and I about how far to take this bit once you posted about the jacket. Long discussion in our home last night about, do I wear the jacket and show Andrew and this show the respect it deserves? Or do I go all the way to the other end and show up either shirtless or with just my Tony Soprano robe, disheveled, drinking tequila out of the bottle left over from last night? And this is why Leighann, you'll love my girlfriend in spirit if you don't get to know her over the coming new times, as we call them. Andy, you'll appreciate this. Tara stopped me and goes, hey, babe, I don't want to seem like I'm stepping on a bit or anything, I don't want you to get mad. And I'm like, yeah. I'm going to do the robe thing. Fuck Andy. Yeah. And she goes, so you're having Leighann on tomorrow? I'm like, yeah. But I'm going to be like in my robe and drink tequila out of the bottle. And I'm going to, oh, yeah, that's what you get for the robe comment. I mean, the coat jokes, Andy, raw. And she goes, now what happens if you start discussing the current state of just America culture, of just what's going on in the world? Do you really want to look back and be the guy in the robe and the disheveled hair, drinking water out of a tequila bottle, trying to make a point to Andy that he doesn't even care that much about? And you're there trying to make a point about Black Lives Matters, and you're dressed like, a real jerk.
And we really have to really think about you making a point when you're drinking tequila. That point that you might be making may not be very sharp at all.
No.
I think if nothing else, this gives the value to having someone near and dear to you who offers another way of looking at things. Like, hey,
That's
honey,
exactly right.
Love what you're doing. Here's a thought.
That's exactly right. That's why it took me way too long to win over a woman of color who's going to tell me like it is, instead of letting me walk around like Clark Griswold looking like a jerk.
Well, from what I understand from what you just said, there was an option of you just coming on the show with no shirt on whatsoever. And I don't know if it was your judgment or... Yeah, well, I speak for the group, I think, for everyone here, that we're all happy that did not happen.
I will also
think Terry deserves a medal on this one, guys.
These are not all mutually exclusive either or options. I don't know how long the show is. There could be a wardrobe change. You could choose to do this on a different show, or just in your own life. So, the floor is yours, sir. But I do appreciate
Thank you very much. And Leighann, it's so interesting that you said, well, thank you so much. This is my favorite jacket. I knew it'd be a little distracting on here, but I took a risk. But you just touched on something important, which was the last plan that I went to bed with that I thought was the plan for today was shirtless. And then when things get serious and we dive into real issues facing America, you see me step off camera real quick. And then when I step back in the camera, I'm already dressed. I'm like, hey, guys, let's have a serious conversation about race in America. I'm not an asshole anymore. And Tara was like, no, I have to be at my office. You're going to have to do this alone, and I'm not going to be there to do your silly wardrobe change, okay? Okay, go to bed.
You know what? You're right. I'm loving Tara. I haven't met her, but that's my chick right there.
What I'm surprised at is that you decided that you weren't just going to put on the jacket bare chest.
Oh, yet another option.
Exactly.
Can I ask? I think I sent these two news stories to you, Andy, but I want to bring them up before we got into fun stuff. So the Trump administration is doing everything they can to scream in our face that they're Nazis, and we just refuse to listen to them. Is that what's happening?
I think
that what they're trying to do is is to do that old Soviet Union, and dating myself, that old Soviet Union trick of doing whatever it wants, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that just shows their dominance in that weird WWE kind of, I can smack whoever I want with a metal folding chair, and it's just the way it is.
Right.
That was a really convoluted response, I think.
Well, I just thought, I don't know if you guys heard about this yesterday, but they moved the convention to Jacksonville because how dare Charlotte say you can't have large gatherings? Which, hey, good on Roy Cooper, a governor that people thought was going to be a real pushover Democrat who stepped up and said, we're not doing that here. So they take it to Jacksonville, Florida, and they just randomly end up scheduling it on the same day as this historic day that you know about if you're from that part of Florida, if you're from the state of Florida, if you're from Jacksonville, which is the anniversary of the biggest Klan riot in the state of Florida's history. That's the day that it's literally called Axe Handle Friday.
Oh my God. Excuse me for a minute.
Seriously?
No, that's real, Leighann. That's real. And then they're having the rally in Tulsa because he needs those Oklahoma votes. Lord knows it's a purple state these days.
Yeah.
And so he's going to have his first post-COVID rally in Tulsa, and that will be on the anniversary of the enormous event. I wouldn't even know what to refer to it as. It's referred to in the Watchmen series. The giant when they were literally setting off bombs against black folks in Tulsa.
The Tulsa race riots. That's right. The Tulsa race
Thank
riots.
you very much. Yes. But they set that on that date. And then Trump in his Twitter called.
Well, that's the location of where that happened, but that date is Juneteenth.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and that, if anybody doesn't know what that is, that's when the news finally got to Texas that slaves were free, because they didn't tell them right away. They were like, you know what, let's get some more work out of these people. Here.
Yeah. Let's be honest, the white folk wasn't exactly really running their mouth about the fact it was over down here in Texas. White folks were like, we'll see how it turns out. We don't know yet.
Yeah. They didn't have Twitter. They didn't get that "we's free" hashtag.
I gotta think Lincoln would have killed it on Twitter, though, right?
Yeah, he was pretty succinct with his words. He'd have been all right.
They always make him out to be a funny president, too.
Well, he had a good sense of humor.
Right.
I would imagine, right?
I don't know.
Right.
He was a cat person, so he's one of the few presidents in the White House who has a cat. Please don't ask me why I know that.
I had a very weird the universe collapses in on itself moment the other night. Andy knows my weird love-hate deep relationship with George W. Bush. It's very strong in the love and very strong in the hate. It's a very weird I'd say dad issues on dad issues on dad issues on big brother issues sandwich, alcoholism, Texas. I'm not having a stroke. I'm just trying to describe it. Sure. Found out the other day he currently has a cat named Bob. What?
A cat named Bob.
Wow.
I got a cat named Bob. Come on.
What? That is just the universal lining somehow.
That is a lovely convergence.
So
my cat is not
privatize Medicare. I got to let you guys know, and I'm also probably gonna have to privatize Social Security. Don't be mad. I got a cat named Bob.
Well, you got to start it off in your own household. That's the thing. You gotta let the cat know that it's no longer getting those unemployment checks, and it's tough. It's tough times for that cat. It's gotta have to pull its weight, pull itself out by its paw straps and stuff like that.
Yeah, if my cat pulled his weight, it'd be amazing. Because when I got him,
Bob, I hear you. Oh my God, your cat's how big is your cat, Leighann?
When I first got him, he was 23 pounds. And he's my first cat, so I didn't know if that was big or not. Everyone seemed to think so. I wanted a small dog, so I ended up with a big cat. But he's down. His weight is down now. He's at 17 pounds now. We've been working on it. So he's down, I'm up. That's how it works.
You might have gotten yourself one of those nesting cats, those Russian doll nesting cats, where there's a cat.
Cat within a cat.
Within a cat. Within maybe even another cat. It was a pretty large cat. So,
well, it's funny when I picked him up, the day I picked him up at the shelter to bring him home, they were, they always try to get you to take one more. And they were like, well, he has a girlfriend. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be the only single person in my house. I am not getting him a girlfriend. I'm it.
He's got a girlfriend. They tried to guilt trip you with the girlfriend, Leighann.
They did. I was like, no, this is not big love. No, she can stay right here.
My ex-wife was like that with children. She was like, we just can't have one. It's like, yes, I believe it is biologically possible just to have one child.
Yeah, and financially advisable.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Kids are a little expensive.
They are. I have 2 great kids. I'm very happy with them. But yeah, but my ex-wife was definitely in that philosophy that you just can't have one.
Wow. Children are potato
chips. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do.
Where are you in the order of the lineup?
I'm the baby and the only girl.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I'm royalty. I am royalty in my family.
All right. And Andy, where are you?
I'm the youngest.
That's right.
And I like to consider myself an only child. But the youngest of 2. The youngest of 2. That's what I am. I have an older sister.
Yeah,
that's right.
There's a space there. I was a surprise. So it's almost like I was an only child. I mean, the only girl for sure. So it was just a whole different raising, a whole different.
How many brothers, Leighann?
I have 2 older brothers.
Okay, cool. And they were just out of the house and they're much older.
Yeah. One's much older, and then the other one was like 8 years older than me. So it was like.
It's a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really different. We went through phases of life at different times. It was fine.
I was listening to the recent Mark Maron interview with Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry said that his parents treated him with benign neglect. Ooh. Is that what you got? Leighann? A little bit of benign neglect since your parents had already done so many.
Oh, no, absolutely not. My parents doted on me. I felt incredibly loved and supported throughout my childhood and my adulthood, while I had both of them. Oh no, no, very loved, very.
Well, and some people would say spoiled. End up a comedian?
Because damn it, Sam! I was going to say that.
My parents are hilarious. My parents are funnier than me. They are hilarious. They would tell these really funny stories. There was a lot. I'm not saying my upbringing was perfect, but there was a lot of love and a lot of laughter in my house. So. That's kind of how that happened. A little less of that, and maybe I would have been a lawyer with a more secure retirement plan.
Retirement plan? You're in America. Everything's paid for. We have a very safe social safety net.
Isn't it great that we have that? You can get sick anywhere and walk into any hospital or clinic and be taken care of and not, go into medical bankruptcy. It's so great.
That's right. I feel swell sleeping at night. That's what I do.
Oh, like a baby.
Yeah.
I think we've jumped the shark, you guys. We're getting loopy in the pandemic.
That's what it is. I find myself days just like white knuckling it or not caring whatsoever. And yes. I think I've just within the last maybe 20 minutes, I've gone back and forth, I think, between those 2 poles, those 2 north, south.
And I can tell by your accent. Your accent pops out.
Oh,
stronger.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah, it does. You're right. The not caring Andy is very different from the accent is very different from the caring Andy.
You can tell quarantine is real when Andy starts sounding like Jeremy Renner in The Town.
Right. If I don't know if either one of you or anyone who's listening has listened to Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, but he sounds like an extra from The Town or from The Departed. He has an accent and you should, all of you should just after the show's over, of course, go and just Google Marty Walsh, and you'll be like, oh my God, it's all true. It's all horribly true. They all do talk like that in Boston. It's not an act.
Wow.
You talking about Mayor Marty Walsh, though?
Well, just like him, man. Yeah.
I think he's doing a wicked awesome job, though, Andy.
Oh, yeah. Well, the city isn't in flames. We've had some issues.
I mean, come on. You got to give him credit for that much, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The state in general has had declining cases of COVID-19. We've been fairly responsible after having a big bump, earlier on. We're definitely one of the states that, are managing or is managing the crisis fairly well at this point, and the protests too.
And you guys opened, I think you started your phase 1 a week before New York did, because I have a friend in Boston, and we do the Zoom sister circle thing every week, and just keeping up with each other. And it's tough for her. She's in education, and it's like I don't know if distance learning is ideal for young kids. I'm not sure it's even ideal for me. I grew up liking the classroom environment. I need to sit in front of people and ask questions. It's a communal feeling, but the discipline required to do online, I don't see that being a long-term solution.
I had a psychology professor back in the day, and he said, if you can't train a dog, then you shouldn't have children. It was somewhat of a radical statement back then, and still is probably. But I think a closer comparison is that if you can't train a dog, then you definitely shouldn't be trying to teach your first and second grader. It's really, really tough.
Okay. It looks like it. It's like I think I would have first and second grade, because that's that's spelling, that's basic math. By the time you need help in calculus, mama can't help you.
Oh, I think it isn't the intellectual quality, the need to master the material. It's more like crowd control in a lot of ways. Like, how do I get this little person, this little gene machine to sit in a seat?
Go, get in line, sit down, sit down and count.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah, because we've been you just transforming or translating it to the adult world. How difficult is it to work from home? So many distractions. It's like, is that my refrigerator? Did it just call me?
I've never heard that sound before. Does it always do that?
Right.
The liquor cabinet, the
which is unlocked.
Yeah. There should be a time lock, to tell you the truth. I think there should be like some kind of time lock.
No, I don't think so. Because you turn on CNN and they say something outrageous at 1:00. You need to have that as an option. I'm just saying.
I don't even know the last time I watched, and I'm very proud of myself being the news junkie I've been for so many years. I'm so proud of myself. I have not turned on MSNBC, Fox, or CNN for anything other than Cuomo Brothers short films during this entire thing. And even the Cuomo Brothers stuff, I think I'm way behind on. I think I've got like a whole season to catch up on.
It's funny. I'm actually on a text chain with friends, and every morning one of them texts Cuomo time, and I'm like, okay, whatever I'm doing, I just flip open my iPad, and I'm like, what is Uncle Cuomo, Uncle Andrew saying today?
You okay there, Sam?
Yeah. I was just thinking about the fact that it's up to Andrew Cuomo and Chris Cuomo to both entertain and lead us out of this crisis.
Yeah. How sad is that?
It's a lot for two brothers.
It is.
I mean, the Kennedys didn't have to have a reality show,
They should have a comic book. Not like
but
Marvel superheroes.
It's just so nice to have somebody who's at least cogent, honest, yeah, you guys, we're dying, but we're doing better today. Like, what?
Right. The gaping hole in the ship is just a little bit smaller.
Right. But no, I think New Yorkers, I shouldn't say New Yorkers, grown-ups, please tell me like it is. Please don't sugarcoat it for me. Because you're going to sugarcoat it and I'm going to think it's way worse than it really is. I still think they're hiding stuff from us. I don't think they're calculating the numbers properly the same way they don't do for unemployment. I think people are sicker, and I think more people are unemployed than they're saying, but perhaps they just can't get their mind around or all the algorithms around how to really, really calculate this.
Well, I think there's an incentive for them to downplay it. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, sure. I mean, 40 million unemployed is staggering. Like, what? Like, just that number is, and I'm one of them.
Right.
How did this happen to me? Like, what? I've been plugging away my entire life, and now what? Everything that I do is closed? Everything?
There are a certain group of people who always thought their jobs were somewhat recession-proof, right? Bartenders.
Yeah.
People who always had a lot of drink, right? And this COVID-19 thing comes along and just torpedoes that. I guess I'm going with these nautical analogies, these nautical metaphors right now, just torpedoes that. It's like, yeah, you were recession-proof under normal recessions, but this is an abnormal recession. That's what we have right here.
Yeah. I did not see this coming. I mean, listen, working in entertainment is always insecure. That's you just kind of understand that, and you hustle, as we were talking about, before the show started. But this is a different level. This is like, wow, maybe I should go to law school now. Like, maybe I won't have to take the LSAT. Like, if high school kids don't have to take the SAT, maybe I can get out of taking the LSAT, because I never wanted to take it, which is why I didn't go. So sad.
They should just let you in case you look like a lawyer and able to do lawyer-like poses.
Right. If I've been on Law and Order, I should get in. Well, here's the thing. I don't like standardized tests. I'm very, very much against them, because I'm saying that because I was a kid that I was a very, very good student, but I didn't test well on standardized tests. So I didn't feel like my education and my knowledge was well represented. And my theory is, look at my grades, look at my history. If I get in on those qualifications, take my money. If I fail, kick me out.
Right.
You've lost nothing. You have my money. Now the onus is on me to do the work. Why can't we do it that way?
Right. And it's pitiful, Leighann, that you have to be have the mindset of like an 80s wrestler trying to get a contract with Vince McMahon, where you're like, look, like, if I fail, don't let me show up. If I win, pay me. Give me the fucking diploma. It's so bad that's where education is today. And I'm not smart enough to explain it, but a guy who I consider a mentor of mine, Jason Stanford, I don't know that he considers himself a mentor of mine. That's a different story. You know how that goes. He was working on a book about standardized testing in the state of Texas and across the country, and No Child Left Behind, and a lot of those details. He was an old former Ann Richards staffer, our last Democratic governor. And I worked for his consulting firm, but he had me do a bunch of research work on this book he was working on. And I'm like, cool, I'm a kid who quit going to school and got a GED, and now you want me to help do the backbone of a thesis behind the problems with standardized testing. This won't be Tommy Boy 2 at all. Don't worry, we've got this. But the point, that's not the point. Leighann, the point I was trying to make was, it was really terrifying and fascinating to learn that the standardized testing, at least in Texas, was set up to some extent to weed kids out who think in a way that, I hate to say the system, or the machine, whatever you want to say, but it's literally set up in a way in which if you think outside of the box or have any other alternative viewpoint on anything, it's almost set up to weed you out.
Yeah. It's cog refinement.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's what education is, for a lot of people. I was listening to a podcast recently. They were interviewing a gentleman, and I can't remember his name. He has been, for the last 20, 30 years of his career, anti-grading. He thinks even giving grade. Now this, a student here, I freaked out. Was like, what? No grade? How do you? Yeah, I knew.
Leighann, I haven't known you long, but I knew. I was like, oh, there's no way Leighann's down with this non-grading. She's trying to get that blue ribbon at the end of the school day.
Oh, absolutely. But again, that's the problem with it. When he actually explained it, when they've done studies, when you don't put a grade on things, on education and knowledge, children will actually continue to have a thirst for learning. They'll maybe pick the harder thing to do until they'll learn more. The minute you say there's a grade, they'll go, how much do I need to know this? How much do I need to read? How much do I need to know? They'll actually set their own expectations of themselves lower just to get the grade.
You start gaming the system going, am I really going to use this shit in 10 years? Do I really need to know this? And you check out. And then if you're in math class, like the way I was in junior high, you look across the table and you see the fourth grade Chinese kid they bust over from the elementary school is in your math class when you're, in eighth grade. And you're like, I don't have a chance against that kid. What am I even doing?
Well, it's interesting you should say that. I think that at least with me, my parents were able to foster, and through not from benign neglect, but just from neglect. They just gave me a set of encyclopedias, and that helps me foster a sense of curiosity. I think parents have some kind of role in making their kids intellectually curious.
I think my parents did a great job. My mom taught me how to read. I didn't learn how to read in school. My mom taught me how to read. I was 4, and that's when I went to pre-K. I got there, and I'm like, you guys can't read? Like, what are you doing with your lives?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Why am I here?
Hell yeah, Leighann. Hell yeah. As the son of a special ed teacher and an attorney, which both came in very helpful based on who I became. That's a really cheap joke, guys. I'll explain it on my Twitter later this afternoon. I have to say, the ego that came along with being in the advanced reading class in like pre-K and kindergarten, you're like, sorry guys, I gotta go. Advanced reading. I'll see you kids later. You felt awesome. You felt like the coolest. You're like, I can't stick around for this. We're rating on the 2nd grade book over here.
Yeah, you learn hierarchy early, But someone asked me.
And again, another problem, right?
Another problem. They said, Leighann, you were a good student. Do you think you're smart? And I said, I used to. I think I got lucky in the sense that the way school was done appealed to how I learned. I learned how to sit still. I liked reading. I liked doing my work. I behaved in the way they needed you to behave. So that worked for me and my personality as a child. If I was a child that learned experientially, or I needed to be outside in the world touching things, I would have been an F student. I'm like, outside, there are bugs outside. I'm not going out there. So I was taught in a way that helped me. And we're not doing that for all children. If you aren't a book learning kind of kid, if you need to run out and touch stuff and break stuff and figure stuff out, you're shit out of luck.
I think all children are.
I
think all children are, to some extent. They have to know, learn things in a sensory way, especially people who have like this engineering kind of MacGyver-like kind of quality to them. They need to be able to feel things in their hands and to work in their hands. And these aren't even kids that are going to go into the trades. These are people who, like I said, are going to go and become engineers and scientists. They actually need to do the experiments with their hands to understand it.
I'm like, can I read about it? Can I just sit in the corner and be quiet and read a book and then write an essay and write a report? Right. I'm fine. I don't want to touch nothing.
I always worked in some comedic bit angle to any project when I was still caring about academic work, where I'd be like, you got to write your Christmas story. Can I make it a night for Christmas about everybody in class, that kind of deal? And then have the whole class like riot against me at recess because, everybody got called out and roasted Rickle style by a 4th grade Sam Slade.
I would spend my time thinking of questions that would stump the teacher.
Oh, you're one of those.
You're a James Bond bad guy, Andy. You really are. I'm so glad I didn't go to school with you, man.
I had the patch. I had the Dr. No patch and everything.
The cat.
So I would write out the question too. I would write out the question to make sure it made sense, and then I would ask the question.
I love it.
Subversive.
Your Russ Cole, you'd have your bulletin board, making sure it makes sense, connecting everything. Does this question work? Is this theory happening? I bet they hated you, man. They hated you.
The teachers hated you. The kids loved you.
Sometimes the kids didn't understand things either. So
dumbasses.
Yeah.
I was such a good girl. Oh, I wasted my life. I was a good girl. I was a teacher's pet.
Don't say that.
Oh, no, it's a waste. Total waste. To the point, though, and this is the one time it actually worked out for me, junior year English, my teacher, Sister Ann O'Brien, I'll never forget her. She was such a rageaholic. She got angry because, she went to collect the assignment and nobody had it. She's going up and down the aisles. You don't have it. And she comes to me and nobody says anything. This is Catholic school. Everybody's quiet. She gets to me and she's like, do you have it? I'm like, no, sister, I don't have it. And she looked at me like, you don't have it? And I said, sister, it's not due today. And no one had said anything. No one had, and of course, if Leighann doesn't have it, it's not due. Class.
It's an interesting question because you're in a moral and social conundrum. So if you had let's take this hypothetical, right? Which I'm sure that you've already thought through, but I'm going to ask anyway. Let's say that you were the only person in the classroom with a completed project and it was due that day. Would you have handed in the project when everyone else didn't? Oh, wow. Yeah. Very strong.
I was horrible. I was horrible. Like I was that kid. I hated doing group work because I'm like, why did you saddle me with all these non-workers? I'm just
who are these losers? I can't work with this.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I didn't learn the lesson of group work and teamwork. I missed the whole point.
And there's how she became a comedian, Andy. We figured it out.
That's it. That's it. Exactly. A strong sense a dislike of working with slackers.
Looking around the group and really just going.
Actually, I don't like improv. You're right.
Oh, I can tell. The little file in my head about Leighann Lord doesn't like musicals, doesn't like improv.
And I can do it, but not my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's not a real art form. I know what you're saying, right?
It is a real art form. It's a real skill.
No, it's not. No, it is a skill when you use it like in a conversation where you're improvising what you're going to say. But as a guy who hates to admit that he went to Chicago to do all that improv stuff and like attempt to be the new Farley and then get up there and go, this shit sucks. What the fuck are they doing? Where do I find cocaine and hot dogs? This sucks ass. I know no one in this town. And then you look back and you're like, yeah, it's not a real art form.
Wow. And it's just because it's something that I don't like or do, I still think it's a skill. But unfortunately,
it is a skill. It is a skill.
Very, very early in my career, I went because when early in your career you go see and do everything, and I went to see an improv show, long form improv.
Yeah. And
I cannot. I don't think these were people at the top of their game.
That's a nice. Nobody ever wants to say, I went to an improv show and Lord, did they suck? Everybody's like, I think they were going through some stuff.
It was so bad. I didn't go to another improv show after that. What was that, 20 years ago? Like, no.
Anyways, I didn't see how Dan Quayle did in that debate that night. I got wrapped up at that improv show.
What is really fun, and I like to stir the pot like this, is talking to comedians about what they don't think is legitimate comedy. I was on someone else's show the other day, and they asked me what I thought about TikTok comedians, like people making funny 6-second videos. And I think I was, because I'm old. You may not have noticed that, any of you. It's like no, I actually think the people on TikTok who are making funny videos are actually funny. I'm not going to argue with the fact whether or not they're funny or not because I'm laughing. Is it the same thing what stand-up comedians do? No, it's not the same thing. But still, it's legitimate comedy. Yeah, if they're getting laughs, they're getting laughs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just bitter.
Bitter. Right?
I mean, Andy, I don't know if I've told you this, but I know that you're aware of my best friend, the legend Dwan the Dream McKellar. And the thing is he calls me the other day, and we used to do a prank phone call. We'd call a Chinese food restaurant and an authentic one with like an old little Chinese lady.
Is this going to be racist, Sam? Because whenever I hear someone with your accent starting off a bit like this,
I'm a little concerned as well.
I'm a little. There's like yellow lights flicking on my head.
It's so funny with Leighann on the show today, and knowing her credibility as a comedian. I was trying to do non-regional diction, but apparently I can't do shit right in quarantine. So the point of the story was, I don't know what we were talking about anymore.
Prank
you
phone
made me feel like a dumb redneck. Okay, so we used to do a thing where we call it Asian Place, and I stopped myself, and Andy beat me to it because I wanted to point out this is the second joke in this show that I've referred to a Chinese lady. And I just want to make it clear that I know that that's not a punchline. Cut me some slack. Like Leighann said, we're all going a little loopy right now at this point in quarantine. We call one Chinese food restaurant. Hey, can you hang on? Let me get my wife. Put them on hold. Call the other one. Hey, hang on. Let me get my wife. And then you put them together. And then these two old Chinese food ladies try to get each other's orders and end up screaming at each other. Now, we literally thought we split the atom. We thought, boy, here we come Hollywood. We would roll around and laugh. All these Chinese food old owner ladies would yell at each other. But the point is, Dwan called me very upset because some kids are doing it now on TikTok. And he's like, dude, what the hell?
I have to tell you, I have not seen those videos on TikTok. Most of the TikTok videos I've seen are just people doing some weird mousetrap kind of stuff, like the multi-stage dominoes kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is on TikTok. Hang on, I'm just gonna download it real quick. Hang on.
No, I don't have TikTok. I'm not getting TikTok.
There's no reason for the talk of the tech.
No, no. I watch the videos that people sort of share on Twitter and Instagram. I'm not downloading the app. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. If I want the Chinese government to have all my information, I'll call them.
Right.
So no. I don't have that energy to think people are being funny. Some stuff is funny, some stuff's not. Just like any other platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we call it stand-up comedy? No, we don't. It's its own genre, the same way Vine was, the same way.
I mean, it's just Vine, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's just Vine.
That's all it is.
It's
right?
Vine, but longer. My argument when I see these things, I see these children doing these, elaborate dance numbers. I'm like, did you log on and do your homework today? Like, you got time for this?
Uh-oh.
See, I'm not. I know I'm gonna be a terrible old lady. I know I am, because it's like, did you do your homework? You have here dancing, having fun, ha ha ha. What's your grades like? That's terrible.
There should be some kind of screen. Some kind of like enforcement of grades via TikTok. You got to put your grades in from your teacher to show whether or not you can actually be on the platform.
I'll be dragging my children over to Aunt Leann's house. Let her walk out to the yard, pick that switch off the tree, just start swinging.
Yeah, I'm not the fun auntie. And I actually am. I have 4 nieces, and I was the fun auntie, but like that, the first couple of years, it's like, when my first niece, my mom's first granddaughter, I watched my mom transform from my mom to a grandma. And I'm like, who is this woman? Like, what?
Yeah.
My niece, my oldest niece, could do no wrong. This chick was walking on furniture with her shoes on. She was a toddler. I was like, it's been nice knowing you. You gonna die, because that was you could get life for that in my house. My mom thought it was the cutest thing. I look at her like, so I became the disciplinarian when my niece was young. It's like, okay, no. We're not gonna have standard.
Yeah,
that is fascinating. I would think I was on Chris's show, The Daily Atheist, maybe last week, and we're talking about different personas that we have on YouTube when we're doing comedy. And it's like, I do not have the energy or the intellectual capacity to be anything more than I am. As horrible as that sounds,
no.
and part of that is, And to tell you the truth, both of my kids very well know, even at, they're both, one's just out of high school and one's still in high school. They both know that basically what they see is what they're going to get. And if anything, I'm going to become more curmudgeon and misanthrope as I get older. So I'm with you, Leighann.
Don't tell your short, you're already there.
I'm all right. Thank you.
Listen, I've had people say, oh, Leighann, you seem so nice. You seem so happy. You seem so encouraging. And I'm like, this is work. Because I'm a glass half empty person. If you don't know how something can go wrong, hold my beer. I'll let you know.
Well, right, and it's that thing, and it's that thing. And I wish he was saying it right now more than ever. But it's a thing Barack Obama used to say when he was running for his own job, and it was, you got to be belligerent about being optimistic.
Yeah, I don't have that energy right now.
I know, no, but and Leighann, what I wanted to bring it back to, and I know we're being very silly and stuff, but you were making the point that we're all getting loopy during quarantine. But I think it would be concerning if we weren't. And the people who aren't getting a little silly right now, that's who we need to be concerned about, because they're not seeing what's going on. And I'm not trying to preach or anything, but you feel like a real asshole down here when you're telling your friends, hey, don't buy into Greg Abbott, our governor down here, reopening the state, cockamamie, malarkey, pony show. I've never even said that phrase before in my life, guys. So you're welcome.
Well, you should and get the website, get the domain.
Definitely, I'm glad to have been here for this.
It's yours. But the thing that 2 weeks ago this weekend is was the Memorial Day rush, and here it is in Texas, guys. The last 2 days, 3 days now, record-breaking levels of new cases. On schedule, guys. On schedule.
How did that happen?
I heard the mayor of the city of Houston is thinking about going back to lockdown or back to phase 1 or quarantine, basically.
And the former police chief of Austin, who's now the police chief of Houston, is making like national news saying we have to enforce. The guy's name is Art Acevedo. I don't know why he's not running for governor, but he's a serious guy, and he's flipping out down there in Houston about we got to keep people home right now.
Yeah.
Did y'all not watch what was happening in California and New York? Were we not the canary in the coal mine for the rest of the country? Didn't we?
Leighann, it's funny. It turns out down here in Texas, sometimes we just don't learn.
I've only been to Texas twice, and Texans do believe that they are in another universe, another Texas verse.
Oh yeah, I believe that. And maybe I might be wrong in this possible kindness here, but hot weather, warm weather, really affects people differently.
It makes people crazy. It makes people
crazy.
It
makes people want to go out and have a good time. And you guys got warmer before we did. So, right. So maybe that's a contributing factor. It's like, oh, it's warm, I'll be fine.
No, yeah. It's warm. We can go do normal summer stuff. And people went over the top and threw all the rules out the window. And we have a governor who's willing to do anything it's going to take to Leighann, do you know much about the governor of Texas?
I do not.
You'll appreciate this quick little story. So his name's Greg Abbott. I call him Hot Wheels. And I know that seems insensitive because he's in a wheelchair, but hold my beer. Because by the time I'm done with this, you'll go, oh, Leighann will be like, oh, child, Hot Wheels, we can do better than that. Okay, so he is 25 years old. He is running through the some random snow situation in Houston. They get we get like once a year in Texas, that one snow day back in the pre-time, but the before times,
before COVID.
Yes. Thank you. I like to say pre-Kobe or post-that. I'd say pre-Kobe and post-Kobe world is my theory now.
Okay.
I got to work.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Anyways, so he gets a $5 million settlement from an HOA for a frozen branch falling on his head that paralyzes him from the waist down. And he gets a $5 million HOA settlement, and then he grows up to go to St. Mary's fancy San Antonio, or I guess Houston Law School. He works his way up through Republican politics. He becomes a Texas Supreme Court justice, which is elected here in the state of Texas, which makes about as much sense as me giving out hand jobs on the street right now. I'm sorry, Leighann. We're getting a little loopy these days in quarantine. I'm just trying to make it make sense. So while he's on the Texas Supreme Court, he rules against those same size settlements against folks who had been in his situation. He rules that it's unconstitutional and that it is not on the HOA, and therefore I got my money. I'm out of here. Okay, there you go.
Oh, I'm assuming he gave the money back. No. Okay.
No. This is like, Leighann, come on.
I know. I have a very rich fantasy life. I am very Secret Life of Walter Mitty in my own head.
So. You know what? It sounds like we've had some issues around here lately where Tara has gotten real frustrated, but like, in a perfect world, and I've gone like, go on. I'm going with you when you find it.
The voiceover guy says, in a world. He never says in a perfect world. That's never what he says.
I miss trailer announcer guy. So anyways, it gets worse, Leighann. He came out against interracial marriage, and he find out he's married to a Mexican woman. What was the other big one?
Explain the whole he was against interracial marriage, because that seems somewhat 1967, 1966.
That's a bit throwback.
Yeah, that was 2014. I think he was trying to make it cool again, but then they found out he was married to an old Mexican lady. But the point I was going to make, the last one was the fact that he ruled that get this, guys, the Americans with Disabilities Act, he's in a wheelchair, is unconstitutional, and therefore governmental buildings, public buildings, and private business buildings do not have to install ramps if they choose not to. Now, obviously, that got overruled by a circuit court, but That's the kind of piece of shit we're talking about, Leighann. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make fun of the disabled. His dick doesn't work. I apologize.
Do you know what his parents are like? Because whenever I see a duck like that, I want to see the ducks that made that duck.
You want to see who hurt you, Greggy?
Yes.
Who hurt you?
I was thinking the same thing. Who hurt you?
I'll be right back. I just want to grab my water.
All right, dude. Yeah, because whenever you see someone who is obviously super different, who's like either sociopathic or really a smart person or an empathic person, you assume that apple fell from a tree that was somewhat, close by.
Let me check out this tree. I totally agree. Oh, I told you guys I just got my text. It's Quobo time. So.
Yes. Here's when Chris Cuomo won me over. It's when he got quarantined in the basement.
Oh
yeah, when he got COVID and they put him in the basement and he starts going, "The beast comes at night. The beast comes at night," and everybody's like, "Chris, the ratings are killing, but are you doing okay, buddy?"
All right. So we've been doing this for about 50 minutes, and we haven't talked about your podcast at all.
Okay.
Leighann Lord, and we should at least touch on that since.
Let's run long. It's Friday.
I'm having a good time chatting with you guys. It got me up and out of bed early. I can go run my errands.
Excellent. So what's the name of it? People with parents?
My podcast. One of my podcasts, but this is one that I created and produced. Is called People with Parents. And it's about the role reversal that happens between adult children and their aging parents. And I finally branched off into doing interviews with people who are in this situation. But it really started with me telling these, micro stories about my parents are aging. What the hell? Like, how do I, what's happening? How do I deal with this? And I barely got the original Birds and Bees talk. So nobody told me about this, about, parents get old and sick and they need you. Whether they think
what a good point. What a great point. Like, we didn't get a reasonable, any kind of real sex talk as kids. Why on earth will we get to talk about? So we're going to get old now and you have to become the adult now. I mean, I literally went to, oh man, I don't know how much of this I want to get to, but I understand what you're saying. I'm going through this, Leighann. So like for the first time in my life, what you're talking about, starting to just kind of trickle into my brain of, you're Clark Griswold now. It's on you now.
Right.
That's my white privilege, lazy way to put it. I meaning like you're the adult, like the things you're looking for a parent.
Sam, are you telling me that you're feeling the burden of adulthood?
Oh,
yes, it is. It is
35. At 35, after a world plague, after a divorce with a prostitute, it finally hit me, Andy.
Yeah, no, adulthood sucks.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing.
I don't mean adulthood. I mean what Leighann specifically talking about where you have to rise to the occasion in your family.
Yeah. And not everybody does. And sometimes it doesn't even matter how many siblings you have. You can be an only child. You could have 9 siblings. Sometimes a lot of times it comes down to one person.
Women typically get screwed in that deal. Women typically get screwed.
There are male caregivers. There are unicorns out there. Predominantly it's women because for some reason society seems to think that caregiving and nurturing comes natural to women. Some of us don't care.
No, some don't at all.
No,
that's true.
I was living my life perfectly happy, trying to be. And then what you need me to do, sir? I don't know where your slippers are. What? That's not my job. and I'm not a mom. At least not that I know of.
Same here.
So becoming that, taking over, and it happened really slowly. I was lucky. It wasn't like one big thing, but a series of things where suddenly, I got to really notice that they're getting older. I noticed that they're moving slower. Yeah. I noticed that, I started going to their doctor's appointments and hearing things like, what, you have a heart condition? Why didn't I know that? Well, I didn't want to know it. And they didn't want to tell me. That's why I didn't know. So it's definitely this phase of adulthood where you're the parent. Not a ton of fun, but that was the podcast, or that is the podcast, talking about these things that aren't fun and finding the funny in them.
That's
got to do.
I had a I guess it was like 2 summers ago. I had a series of episodes. I would call it the report from the urban shady pines, and it was the thermostat wars. Because we have a 2-family home, multi-generational home, and the question is, what should the temperature be? Because old people get cold. Okay. Yeah. I remember waking up, it was July. I woke up, I'm sweating. It's hot. I'm like, did menopause happen? What's going on? My dad had turned the heat on in July.
Yeah.
And in what state? What state?
New York.
Yeah.
And so I would come, and the thermostat control was in his part of the house, not mine. So I would go down, I would switch it back, put on the AC and look at it, like, don't touch it again, old man. Of course he did. So the thermostat wars. I ended up replacing the thermostat with one that I could control from my phone. I mean, it was just this huge deal going on. So I'm doing my podcast. I'm telling these stories. I showed up to a conference one weekend where I actually replaced the thermostat, and people coming up to you going, "Hey, Leighann, how you doing? How's your dad doing with the new thermostat?" Like, I had no idea people were invested in this story, because that's what people are going through. Not necessarily that exact story, but you go visit your parents and it's like, why is the house 100 degrees? They never
Everybody can relate to that. Yeah.
Right. Why you guys?
Real quick.
Go ahead, love.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, Leighann. I didn't mean to catch you. I was skipping, so I didn't realize. I thought you had stopped.
No. I was just going to say that my newest thing now, and I knew this was coming. My parents are from the pack rat generation. They saved everything, threw nothing away. And I remember thinking, hey, who's going to do this job? And like, oh, it's me. I have to sort through everything and throw it out. And it's like, people say, Leighann, what do you need help? Yes, I would love a dumpster. I would love a dumpster to just pull up in front of my house so I can get rid of all because nobody wants your crap. Nobody wants your crap. Nobody wants my crap. I still have my iPad Generation 1. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants your stuff. Throw it out.
Do you know what a big mistake white people make is thinking that anyone else wants their crap after all that? They're big on selling it around. Yeah, especially in Austin. I don't know what I was going to say, why it seemed like I was cutting you off. There was one thing I wanted to ask, go around the horn real quick whenever we're wrapping this up. Who do you guys think Biden should pick for this that number 2 gig?
Barack Obama.
Thank you.
Yep.
Andy has said that to me. Andy has said that to me over and over.
I've said that. I have said that Stacey Abrams is the obvious choice for a variety of different reasons. I would say that Barack Obama. I know that you have a particular choice, Sam, that I also agree with, to tell you the truth.
I do want to say that I support the decision of Barack Obama. And I'm not trying to brag, but the fine print does say, to Sam, our success due to your dedication, friendship. What does it say? I haven't read this in years. I'm kidding. I read it every day.
Love it.
We thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you, Sam.
VP choice is important. I'm so not enthused because at this point,
I know that's the thing. We have to get enthused.
In the White House. That's what it is.
Right, and we have to get enthused, and that's why I think Joe Biden has to pick the most electrifying man in sports entertainment today.
Tom Brady,
Dwayne Johnson,
Colin Kaepernick,
Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson. Guys, his trademark is literally, I'm the most electrifying entertainer in sports entertainment. Can you guys, let's work to middle America a little bit. We're over here on the coast over here. We're over here in the liberal elite. Let's work in these folks in Nebraska who don't realize the shit's fake.
I think that he should have ran for president, to tell you the truth. I think he had a presidential committee formed. And
he's not bad on the eyes. That's my criteria.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I can still smell what The Rock is cooking. What?
I like that. I like that a lot.
That's what I love. That's what women still know. They know that they love the way he looks. But I got to be honest with women of America, as far as the current wrestling references and what we're doing in the storylines, you guys are way behind. He doesn't even say that anymore.
I don't care. That's when he got me. That's when I left him. That's what
I love. Here's why I'm blatantly trying to force this bit is because I've noticed that The Rock does something, Leighann. I don't know if you probably don't even hear him because you have the same thing that my girlfriend Tara does, where you just stare and you just try not to drool all over yourself when the man's talking.
I don't try. I just let the drool happen. That's joy.
Somebody give this woman a Netflix show. Damn. But he does this thing where he shows up to wrestling events these days where his intro is where he discusses what he did that day leading up to getting to the event. And I have been driving Tara nuts lately doing it about me in quarantine. But like if The Rock, it's this kind of thing right here where it's like, listen here right now, Sam Slade woke up this morning at the crack of 2 p.m. because he didn't have a podcast going on today. He woke up and he thought about doing push-ups and he walked right past it and went all the way to the kitchen, drank half a tub of Chico, right to the bathroom to puke up all that ulcer foam.
So what you're saying is that somehow Tara has developed deafness, so she doesn't have to hear this. Selective not hearing.
No.
Doing this now?
No, her Native American powers are not that strong. Not for my Irish belligerents, no.
Well, they're going to find you stabbed, buddy. They're going to find you with, like, multiple holes. Maybe.
No. They're going to completely accept me on the res, dude, and I'm going to end up fulfill my destiny. Leighann has no reason to know this, but when I was a high school basketball player, the only letter of intent I got was a school on an Indian reservation.
Are you
really?
Serious?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's absolute true story. And I weighed my options. I was like, I could either be an open mic comedian or I can go to the Indian reservation and while thinking I'm teaching the kids from the reservation about pop culture, end up at the end of the season realizing that they taught me more about myself than I could have ever even expected.
I'd see that movie.
Yeah, that sounds like a movie. I'm not sure if it's Lifetime or Netflix, but I see it.
Right.
And then Sam Slade locked himself in the bathroom and started jerking off with the CBD creamy overpaid for at the 7-Eleven.
So, Sam, who do you think Biden should, realistically, out of the people out there?
Dude, Andy, it's so funny you say this. My old boss, Castro, is really all of a sudden out there trying to make some kind of campaign for this. He's like everywhere in the last week. Obviously, Barack Obama would be my first choice. Michelle Obama would be my second choice, if not in alternate order, because, God, let Barack have a cigarette and calm down. I like the idea of some kind of bipartisan, save America. He picks Mitt Romney kind of thing. I'm falling in love with Mitt Romney in a whole new way these days, guys.
I think if he picked someone like Mitt Romney, it would the political implosion
for everyone involved
would be epic. It would just be epic.
Okay. So real pick, last one. Here you go. John Edwards.
Is John Edwards still alive? I don't even know what he's doing.
He is alive. I'm kidding. Obviously not. Yes, he's still in a lot of trouble. No, seriously, who it needs to be is Kamala Harris, and I will get into the details. I will defend her record as Attorney General, like she had a choice in the cases she had to prosecute, which is a point that Andy likes to make. As AG or DA, you don't necessarily get to pick the cases. Not everybody.
The Attorney General
do on television, isn't that representative of real life? I've seen Law and Order. I've seen
the
Billy.
ACLU would disagree with you, Sam, and California is already going to go blue. You don't need someone. This is the exact same argument we had last week with Ian Harris.
Look, and I'm going to say this, and
I love Ian.
I did
Ian's
it.
great.
He's the coolest. Ian's the coolest. We've been sexting lately. I didn't want to get out of my head. I didn't want to say it's because he's long. It's because he's a very tall man. That's why I'm not. I'm very Leighann. Anyways, I didn't want to say this with you on the show, but I have to make this point. I feel like you'll see where I'm coming from about this. As Andy has been pushing this Stacey Abrams talking point for 2 years, about a year.
You know why? Because I'm right. That's why.
Hang on. I'm not saying right or wrong. I just want to point some things out because I looked into this last night because I had a feeling you might bring this up today. I don't know. I just had a feeling. She was a 5-term state rep and she hasn't been in office since 2016.
Yeah.
She's never a state senator. I thought she was a state senator this whole time. So if we're looking for women of color state reps, I bet you we can find somebody better on presentation somewhere in this country who's a little bit more electable as far as getting people fired up.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Stacey's race is secondary or tertiary for me because she is a scrapper, and that is what Joe Biden is not. He is not good in the pocket. Stacey Abrams, she wants it, and she is aggressive, and she is vocal, and she's from a swing state. And believe it or not, if you pick someone like Stacey, someone from Georgia, that would make it a swing state.
I live in Texas area. I know. I'm just saying at this point, I feel like you just have a crush on the lady.
Well, I don't know. I cannot speak for my penis at this particular time.
I'm just saying, I don't think, Leighann, what do you think? Because I love the look on your face when you're watching two middle-aged white guys argue about what woman of color should be Joe Biden's running mate.
Sam, I have to tell you, buddy, you're still a kid. You haven't reached middle age, brother, yet. You know, you got some years ahead of you, you know.
Andrew, between a heart attack and marrying a prostitute, I think I'm officially middle-aged.
Okay. All right. In dog years, you're middle-aged. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
and middle age is an interesting concept. Since you don't have your expiration date, middle age could have already happened.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know, not to put a damper on things.
Well, Leann's obviously upset with me right now, so I'm just going to sit back.
I'm totally not. A crisis when I was 5, so you know. You got to pace yourself.
I'm post-age. I'm not even middle-aged. I'm just at the end of the ride now. I'm just all old about to die.
Let Leighann talk, Sam. You're just rambling like a middle-aged man. That's what you're doing.
No, you never know when the end of the ride is. That's kind of what makes it fun. Depending on your point of view. You know. It's like, oh shit, it's the end.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a very dark sense of humor.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's actually, what saves me at this point. I like Stacey Abrams over Stacey Dash.
Point well taken. I like
no
that
comparison.
You're there.
No comparison. Dude, I'm just so not enthused. I feel I have been intellectually and emotionally battered since 2016.
You know, there is, I think one of the things that keeps me going is just pure rage, to tell you the truth, and anger. And there are times that I think what my secret is that I am more angry than tired. I am more angry than afraid. And that's what I think is my secret. I
love it.
And you make it look cool too.
Well, that's what
I don't know if you guys are Avengers fans, but there's a line. Oh gosh, I think it's in Doctor Strange. No, it's not Doctor Strange. But they're waiting for the Hulk. You know, like, dude, we're ready for you to change. Like, what's your secret?
Leighann. Leighann.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always angry.
Yes. Yes. And with that line, he is the patron saint of Black women. Because we always.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. That was my girlfriend and I, who was somewhere in the chat actually earlier. I don't know if she's still watching. We were watching the first Avengers movie when that happened, and it's funny how they filmed his character, Banner, when he wasn't the Hulk, because Ruffalo's always holding it in. He's always holding it in. regardless of what scene he's in. He's always like containing himself. And that was a great payoff when you're talking about setup and payoff. That he's always angry and always ready to come out.
Always angry.
Do you guys remember when he said that, and then he turns and he punches the whole snake robot alien ship, and he just punches it in the nose? Do you guys remember?
I thought it was just one of those space whale things. I don't know why I thought maybe
no, it was the full. It was the full. And he turns and. Ah!
Right. I always thought of it as some kind of armored space whale, but maybe I'm wrong.
You're thinking of Infinity War when those wheels come blasting through in like the Wakanda battle.
Well, sometimes I think it might be Star Trek 4, the return home with a spaceship
for the whales
down, with the whales.
Are we mixing genres? What are we doing?
I think
no, hang on. I don't know why Andrew brought this up. I don't know why Andy brought this up. It's the only Star Trek Tara was allowed to watch as a kid. And the other night, I had to give a TED talk in this living room about that. And I had to explain what happened in Star Trek 3 and the importance of the Viking funeral for Commander Spock. And then, when they think Spock is dead, they say, Captain Kirk, we have a break-in Commander Spock's quarters. We're going to need to come out here and check this out. And he walks in. Are you guys messaging each other? You guys talking shit about my Star Wars story right now? The Star Trek story? What's going on? But then it's Bones. It's not even Spock.
I remember that.
No one.
And I'm not as much of a fan of the movies as I am for the series. You know, the
series. The whole idea for the show was open for like a long kind of a long format like a TV series than just an hour and a half, 2-hour movie.
Right.
That's
I'm in the middle. Well, yeah, almost. Well, a little past the middle of rewatching Star Trek Voyager, which I watched kinda in real time and haven't been back since. But I've been doing a rewatch for the last year. Like I rewatched all of Star Trek Next Generation, then I watched all of Deep Space Nine.
Whoa.
Which is a way better show than I remembered. Like it's really good. It's really good.
And I want to point this out. Voyager and Deep Space Nine did more to help Obama and Hillary Clinton's political futures in the coming decade than probably anything else at that time.
And what makes you say that, Sam?
I say it's the first time. It's the first time Star Trek had a woman captain on the bridge of the whatever the ship was, the Voyager. Hello, and Benjamin Sisko, Captain Benjamin Sisko, who is blatantly a much more rugged Barack Obama.
Interesting.
You say what? Wait, no, I'll ask you, Leighann.
You.
Eddie, would you hush?
No, I mean I get to talk about this like on Saturdays all the time with Chris Mallard because we do
on Sci-Fi Saturday. Yeah,
Sci-Fi Saturday because we're both huge Star Trek fans, and awesome. I say I really narrow it down to Star Trek as opposed to sci-fi, and I do love sci-fi and fantasy, but so much of it is dystopian, and Star Trek is not. Star Trek is that
it's hopeful. It's hopeful.
Where human beings have gotten their shit together, just their hunger, disease, diplomacy, problem solving. It's like
it's the best of us. It's the best of humanity or the world, the galaxy. And here, this is a joke. I meant to text Andy, but it wouldn't have worked over text the other day. But Leighann, you will love this. Tara said this the other night. We're watching Star Trek, and I never thought about this. But when Kirk's on the bridge, and it's like, I guess Spock is dead or whatever in 3. And Kirk comes on they're coming back into the base, whatever. And he's like, sometimes, crew, not all the horses make it back to the barn. And Tara made the point of so we're led to believe that most of the ship is being manned by people from different planets. They don't know what horses are. What the fuck? You just turn to the guy next to you. Hey, do you know what a horse is? What's that mean? So do I shoot the missile or do I?
All right, guys, we're heading up. We're heading up in an hour, so we should be doing last thoughts at this point instead of talking about horses and photon torpedoes. We'll start off with Sam since Sam likes to talk so much. Sam, which is very positive. Sam, what are your last thoughts, sir?
I appreciate you clarifying that, because I don't know that you would have ever been interested in having me on your successful podcast or starting a spinoff show if I didn't know how to talk. So I will remember that, and I will remember next week, Andy, I will not talk on our show. I don't want to upset anyone. My final thought is I'm so pleased that we had Leighann on. I hope we get to have her on, not just because I want to meet John Fugelsang, but because I think she really turned the quality of the show around. And she's a great buffer between us. It's like having our cool sister in the room, and we can't really get after each other in like a big brother, little brother inappropriate way about how you're the overachiever and I'm the screw up. And same old song and dance. Stay home, everybody. Stay home, and if you go outside, wear a mask. No, I said the respected sister that we never got to spend time with. No, do not twist up my words, young lady.
Okay.
Okay, Leah, what do you got to say? You have anything? What are your last words?
I do want to give a quick thank you to Julie LaVoie. She's been watching DS9 and Voyager as well, and I love them even more in hindsight. Watching those shows, watching when you're older is a different perspective, and I love that about Star Trek. It just gets better for me with time. I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. This was fun. I would love to come back. And in the meantime, yes, live long and prosper, everybody. And people, if you want to find me, my name is right there, Leighann Lord, veryfunnylady.com. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for everybody showing up. My last thoughts, same time next week. We'll be here. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Leighann.
Thank you.